A few weeks ago, a friend of mine said that he wanted to buy some really nice luggage as a gift for a client. And he asked me recommendations, like I'm meant to know stuff about leather goods, what did I recommend? Satchel Page is what I recommended. He bought their Gladstone Weekender. I wish I'd made a commission on it, I didn't. But what I'm trying to do here is do more everyday carry leather bags on the channel, like messenger bags, satchels, and what we've got here, which is Satchel Page's Mailbag. They sent it to me almost a year ago. It hasn't seen a ton of use during lockdown in New York City, but I've been using it when I can to pick up some nice wear. It's been inspired by US Postal Service mailbags from the early 20th century. It's a really iconic design, and Satchel Page's rendition of it is really superb. This is a really, really nice bag. I actually brought it to a friend of mine who makes leather bags in Jersey City. Tyler, HFA Goods is his company, and I recorded his feedback so I could listen to it when I was writing this review, and this is what he said.
I've tried to make one of these, and this would be exactly like what I would be going for. This is something that I would eventually one day like to make. That's a beautiful bag. Every part about this is beautiful.
And that guy makes bags for a living. You might be thinking this is a pretty plain Jane kind of bag, right? What's the big deal? Well, the simplicity is actually something that's relatively rare in men's bags, but the star here is obviously the leather. So why does it stand out so much? This leather is 6 to 8 ounces. It comes from French cows and it's tanned and finished in Tuscany, Italy, in a small tannery with just 14 workers experienced in making vegetable tanned leather. With this bag comes this sticker that says it's certified by the Genuine Italian Vegetable Tanned Leather Consortium, a group of artisans who are dedicated to preserving the ever-dwindling number of veg-tanned leather artisans in Italy, because making vegetable tanned leather requires considerably more skill. So if you're not aware, more than 90% of all leather on Earth is chrome tanned, and it's exceedingly rare to find vegetable tanned leather goods. Chrome tanning was invented in the 19th century. It takes a day or two to make the leather. It's harsher on the hide. It doesn't age the same way. Some would say it doesn't age as well as veg tan leather. I think high quality chrome tan leather can age quite fine, but it's different with vegetable tan leather. Vegetable tan leather typically takes at least a month to make. It's 2, 3, 4 times more expensive. It has a deeper, richer, more complex color profile than you usually get in chrome tan leather. And it's a bit heavier and harder. It takes longer to soften up, but it also doesn't need heavy lining for support. Indeed, you can feel the weight behind the veg tan. You can feel the difference. It's a heavy-duty, everlasting material. An interesting feature you don't often see on chrome tan leather, at least not often if you do, I've never seen it, are these wrinkles that you get from the hide, which add a nice sort of three-dimensionality, I guess you'd say, to the leather, some nice depth. And the depth is enhanced by this light sheen that the leather has from all the oils it's been hot stuffed with. Most of the color here comes from oils, so the color is very natural, and it can have some slight color variation because each hide absorbs oils differently. But that said, this leather doesn't have that much variance because it's shoulder cut leather, not side cut leather. That's something you almost never see specified, but a trimmed double shoulder, which European tanneries are more likely to be working with, is roughly 3 to 4 feet square and is perpendicular to the spine, both sides of the spine. And because of the shape, you get a nice consistent piece of leather. Leather along the belly often isn't amazing. Near the neck and the hind, kind of hit or miss. And for smaller bags like this that don't need tons and tons of leather, you can just use this shoulder cut leather. So that's a very unusual aspect here, for them to specify that, but many consider it to give you a more consistent piece of leather. The leather is hand cut as well, as opposed to die cut, and pay attention to the fact that there are single pieces of leather wherever possible. You don't get stitching down the middle of the bag because they've thrown together a couple of pieces of leather. That means that there are, the fact that there aren't stitches and seams all over the place means there are fewer places for the bag to break. And more importantly, in my opinion, it just looks cleaner. It's a more elegant kind of look. So there's a lot to take in with this leather, right? It really is phenomenal quality. It's not too matte or dull. It's not too shiny. It's just a beautiful, rich, complex leather that'll age really, really well. It'll last forever. No corners have been cut here with the leather quality. But you might be asking, what have they made the leather into? What have they fashioned the leather into? What is this bag? What's the construction like? Well, let's take a closer look. So the Mailbag is 4 pounds, weighs about 4 pounds, measures 12 inches high, 16 inches wide, and 4.5 inches deep. So it's a bit over 14 liters, and it's actually very spacious. If you check out the interior, there are actually no dividers or anything in here. So it's capable of transporting a lot of gear. A lot of briefcases have dividers here that limit the kind of stuff you can put in here. But it's very, very spacious. You get a laptop sleeve with this really great snap closure to secure your computer in place. And on the sleeve, you've got pockets for pens, cards, and a wallet, as well as 2 extra pockets on either side, and a keychain, so it's easy to get your keys when you need them. The last pocket I want to mention is on the back here. This big outside pocket that's super handy if you need to stuff a magazine or something in there without unbuckling the clasp at the front. And there are only buckles here, by the way. There are no zippers, no magnets, no breakable parts. So you've just got the buckle on the front and the buckle on the strap as well. And these two cinches on the side, which are actually important because when these aren't cinched, you get a lot more room for like rain or snow to get into the bag. You reduce those odds when you cinch it like this. Although rainproof still might be a bit of an overstatement for this bag. The thread is polyester 277. That's really heavyweight stuff that's often used for horse saddles and that kind of thing. And they say their bags are made with a combination of hand and machine stitching, depending on the application. And lastly, we should talk about the rivets. They say on their site, on Satchel Page's site, that 95% of bags that use rivets use rapid rivets, and 5% use copper rivets like this. These are solid copper handset rivets, which are about the most impossible to break rivets. I should thank actually Karl Morawski for teaching me about this on his YouTube channel. The way rivets work is that you have a burr and a rivet, and the rivet goes through the leather, the burr goes on top, and then it's ball peened over by hand, making one solid piece that isn't hollow and won't come apart. Rivets are the most durable way to protect stress points on a bag, and handset copper rivets are just about the most durable way to do that, which is one of many reasons why this bag will last forever, a really long time. You get a lifetime guarantee with it anyway. So as far as the price goes, this bag here is $475, and that is indeed good value. For this quality leather and craftsmanship, all that stuff I said about the rivets and the no breakable parts, the single pieces of leather, the veg tan leather, this is actually remarkable value, and Satchel Page is making a reputation for themselves as very good value bags. It's not the cheapest bag on earth, but I don't think there's anything out there that's this high quality at this price point, taking into account all those upsides I mentioned before. So for guys that want a bag that's gonna last like the rest of their life and they can hand down and it's gonna look beautiful as it ages, I don't think you're gonna find anything made in Italy at least, or in the US, that's this quality at a lower price point. All right, so let's wrap this up with some pros and cons. Pros, the leather is, I've already said this, it's outstandingly high quality, and it's Italian, and it's certified by the Veg 10 Consortium. It's lightly tumbled for softness. It's got a great sheen from all these oils. It'll age really beautifully. It's an heirloom piece. The durability is such a huge factor here. Like, not only will the leather last for decades, but there are also no breakable parts like zippers. The rivets are the most durable kind of rivets, you know? If you take into account how long this bag will last and the fact that you can hand it down to your kids and grandkids and stuff, it's got a lifetime warranty. It's a good price as well. The value is solid here. The edges, I didn't mention this earlier, the edges are burnished and oiled by hand as well, so that makes sure they won't fray over time. That's an upside. Also, where's it gone? The suede shoulder strap here is both great at gripping your shoulder, and it's stuffed with leather, so it forms to your shoulder really nicely as well. The pockets are great in this bag, not too many, not too few. There's no annoying divider down the middle like you get in Saddleback and Kodiak and a lot of others, more like briefcase-oriented kind of bags. You get a laptop sleeve though, with that stud closure that I really like. And there are plenty of interior pockets for your wallet, card, pens, but there's still a ton of room inside. So it's very versatile in regards to like what it can carry around. There's no logo on the bag either, which I really like. Older bags had like bigger logos, but now there's just like this little logo on the back. That I saw a review from Best Leather that said this logo in the back, quote, doesn't interfere with the vintage nostalgic presentation of the bag. And I would agree with them on that. And it's just like a great, clean, minimalist, durable, rugged look that's like masculine, but not over the top. And I love that it looks and feels like a luxury item, but it looks casual enough that it's not flashy. Like, I don't feel weird carrying this in everyday settings, but it'll also look good in a boardroom. So that's a rare feat of design and a feat of quality as well. Potential downsides with this bag, and all of this is just if it bugs you. These aren't objectively bad, it's just this may bug you if this is something that bugs you. So for one, it's vegetable tanned, so the leather is stiff, takes a while to break in at first. It has no pull up to it if that's something you like about leather, meaning it doesn't like change color very much if you bend the leather. It's not like, yeah, it doesn't have a lot of color variation in that regard. The hardware is antique brass, very durable, but it isn't that shiny if that bugs you. It's like it's antique looking, right? Brass does tarnish over time, but it doesn't rust, and it looks cool, I think. But some guys might not like the antique look in that regard. It's unlined, if that bothers you, but that means you won't get like a bunch of, you know, a shredded rat's nest of old nylon in 10 years. No zips, if that bothers you. It's not totally rainproof. That could be an objective one. It's not completely rainproof if you're in an absolute downpour, especially if you're carrying it by the handle. It's quite possible like some water will get in through the gaps here. Unlike on my Crevar bag, which I've got a video coming up on as well. That's probably only an issue though if you're very leisurely strolling in a storm. That's the only way I can see that being like a massive issue. Otherwise, you probably will be walking fast enough, and this is like enough of a closure that you're not going to get a ton of water in there. But yeah, nonetheless, yeah, it's not as rainproof as some other bags out there. All right, man. Those are my thoughts on the Satchel Page Mailbag. It's a really, really cool company. Their bags are absolutely beautiful. I would love to tell you like some really crippling downsides of this bag, but personally, and all reviews are just personal and subjective anyway, but personally, there's no fatal flaw here. Like some potential downsides, like if you have potentially personal leanings in certain directions about like stuff you like on your bags or not. But it's a superb bag. It's really, really high quality. They've really gone like as far as they can, as far as like the leather quality and the rivets and the clean, simple lines of the design and everything else. Yeah, it's a good bag. It's a good bag. That's it. That's the whole review. If you want to buy it, there's a link in the description below. I think I might get a commission on it. I'm not sure. I haven't really set that up yet. I'm hoping I can. But you know, if that happens, that just helps to support the channel. It doesn't cost any extra for you or anything. If I manage to get it, I might not. And there's also a review in the description below, and also subscribe as well, because I got other bag reviews and boot reviews and other sorts of stuff coming up.